Have you ever felt just, well, completely overwhelmed? By that constant pressure to do more or have more, maybe even be more.
Oh, absolutely, that feeling.
Yes.
It's so common today, isn't it? This constant striving.
It really is. And what if, like, an ancient text actually held the secret? A secret to a life with maybe effortless contentment, real peace, and a deeper purpose.
It's fascinating because that's exactly what the Dao De Jing seems to offer, such an
Mm,
ancient text. But wow, what a powerful counter-narrative for right now.
totally. So today we're doing a deep dive into that timeless wisdom, specifically how Dr. Wayne Dyer interpreted it and really brought it to life for modern times.
Hmm.
We've gathered a bunch of his reflections, some personal stories, insights, pulling from his audiobook, Living the Wisdom of the Tao, and even scenes from his film, The Shift.
Yeah, and our mission, really, for you listening, is to pull out those practical, transformative bits of knowledge,
Right.
things that can help you navigate this complex world by, tapping into that inner wisdom, helping you maybe shift from that very ego-driven way of being to something more Deo-centered.
Okay, let's get into it. Dr. Dyer, he had this really unique approach, didn't he, for engaging with the Tao?
He really did. He'd um, retreat, immerse himself in just one verse from the Tao Te Ching.
Just one verse.
Yeah, for days sometimes, letting it really sink in, inform his life. Then he'd take notes. And then he described this thing called automatic writing, like the wisdom was just flowing through him.
Through him, not from him. That's a key distinction he made.
Exactly. He realized he didn't own this wisdom. It came, as he put it, from the world of the 10,000 things.
Which means,
Basically, everything we see and experience, all the individual forms, the phenomena in our daily lives. And he strongly felt this wisdom wasn't just for, political leaders or CEOs,
no, he wanted it for everyone.
for everyone. He actually believed our survival, like humanity's survival, might depend on embracing this kind of Tao-centered living to get past ideas like enemy and war.
Wow, that's a big vision. And he often talked about cycles, didn't he? Like, nature doesn't create a storm that never ends.
Hmm. Within misfortune, good fortune hides. It's that call to trust the natural rhythm, the ebb and flow of life.
Yeah, trust the process.
It connects right back to the core nature of the Tao itself,
Yeah.
from the very first verse.
Ah, the famous one.
The Tao that can be told is not the eternal Tao. The name that can be named is not the eternal name.
Right, the ultimate paradox. It immediately challenges how we want to pin everything down, label it.
Exactly. So if it can't be named, how do you even start to understand it?
That's the question. And why is letting go of defining it the doorway to all understanding?
Well, it's tough for our modern minds, We think naming equals controlling.
Right, if I can label it, I understand it.
But the Tao suggests real wisdom comes from embracing that mystery, the potential that exists before words. It means being ever desireless, not lacking purpose, but free from the craving to nail it down, to intellectualize it.
So it's less thinking, more feeling, intuition.
More intuitive knowing, yeah.
Yeah.
A shift from grabbing it with the mind to just being open to it.
Okay. That idea of letting go, that feels like the core of moving away from that modern striving we talked about. How does Dr. Dyer show this shift towards Tao-centered contentment?
He does it beautifully in his movie, The Shift. You see these characters just completely tangled up in external pressures.
Like what?
Oh, lawsuits, worrying about sales numbers, managing their public image, that whole image over substance thing.
Yeah, very relatable.
He explains it using this idea of the morning versus the afternoon of life.
Okay, the morning being youth, ambition.
Exactly, that competitive gotta-win phase. And the problem is, we try to apply those same ego-driven rules from the morning to the afternoon of life.
Which should be about meaning, purpose.
Right. And that mismatch, he says, leads to living a kind of lie. Here's this one character, David, a filmmaker. He's skeptical.
How so?
He basically says, look, if I didn't have ambition, nothing would get done.
Yeah.
He sees spirituality as like a luxury.
Yeah, I can see that perspective. How does Dyer counter that? How do you find purpose if you ditch ambition?
He brings in the idea of Dharma. He describes it as his inner calling, your unique purpose. Like an otter just knows to swim or a bird knows to fly. It's innate.
So it's not about achieving something external.
It's about living from that authentic inner place.
Mm.
And when you do that, he says, winning and being ahead, they just become secondary. The real goal is feeling fulfilled. It flips the script from external validation to internal alignment.
That is. Wow, that's a huge shift from how our culture usually operates. And looking at the Tao Te Ching itself, verse 3 seems to warn against exactly that, prioritizing external stuff.
It does. Putting a value on status will create contentiousness.
Hmm.
Makes sense, right? Creates envy, conflict.
Mm-hmm. And if you overvalue possessions, people begin to steal.
Yeah, it ignites that craving, that need to keep up, which can lead down some bad roads, literally or just internally. So the verse encourages us to practice not doing.
Okay, practice not doing. That sounds, well, honestly, it sounds like being lazy in today's world.
Yeah.
How is it not?
Ah, yeah, it sounds counterintuitive, but it's really the opposite. Dr. Dyer explains it's not about being idle. It's about letting go of forced effort.
Forced effort, like pushing and striving all the time.
Exactly. It's trusting a deeper guidance, that intuition we talked about, moving beyond the frantic, ego-driven, I got to make this happen energy. Think of a plant growing. It doesn't try. It just unfolds.
Yeah.
When your action is pure and selfless, he says, everything settles into its own perfect place.
Mm.
It allows things to happen more naturally.
So instead of what do I want, the question becomes, how may I serve?
Precisely. And that connects to one of Dyer's big reminders. There's no way to happiness. Rather, happiness is the way.
Meaning, don't chase future goals thinking they will bring happiness. Find it now.
Find it in the process, in the being. Trust the perfection of the Tao. He has this great line. It took care of everything that you needed in your creation, as well as your first 9 months of life, without any assistance from you.
Wow. That puts things in perspective.
It's liberating, right? That deep trust. It reminds me of Thoreau.
Henry David Thoreau.
Yeah, his wisdom. Let us spend one day as deliberately as nature and not be thrown off the track by every nutshell and mosquito's wing that falls on the rails.
That image, deliberately as nature, it really lands. Makes you think how many tiny nutshells derail us constantly.
Totally. And this theme of letting go, it continues in verse 44. It asks, point blank, which means more to you or your renown, which brings more to you or what you own.
Oof. Tough questions.
And the Tao's answer is pretty blunt. What you gain is more trouble than what you lose. It's not the stuff, it's the attachment to the stuff or the status that blocks our connection to the Tao.
So the teaching is about learning when to stop.
Knowing when to stop demanding, chasing, even talking or complaining when it's coming from that needy ego place.
Dyer had that story about his son, right? Giving him the t-shirt.
Yes, his son just spontaneously gave him this favorite new shirt. Dyer called it the wealth that is the fruit of generosity. It shows that shift from grasping to appreciating to giving freely. It's about putting your relationship with the Tao first, above everything.
Because when that's aligned, everything else kind of falls into place.
That's the idea. And if we really start to lean into this non-attachment, it leads somewhere profound about who we actually are. Verse 4 describes the Tao as empty but inexhaustible, the ancestor of it all.
Empty but inexhaustible, another paradox.
Right. And here's the kicker. Dyer says you are an infinite being disguised as a person.
Whoa, okay.
Yeah.
So how do we cultivate awareness of that infinite part of ourselves, when we're dealing with bills and traffic?
Well, when you start to identify with that infinite aspect, thoughts of lack or shortage, they just start to fade. You begin to expect that what you truly desire is not only on its way, it's already here.
That sounds like faith, almost.
It's a deep trust. He suggests becoming an infinite observer. Look at your worries from this huge, ageless perspective. How important will this really seem in 1,000 years? Or even 10?
Puts it in perspective for sure.
It's a powerful reframe. Reminds me of that Nisargadatta Maharaj quote.
Which one?
Wisdom is knowing I am nothing. Love is knowing I am everything. And in between the two, my life moves. Beautiful, isn't it?
It really is. Nothing and everything. And that infinite view. It must change how we see other people too, right?
Yeah.
How does the Tao guide us towards impartiality, especially when judging feels so human?
Yeah, it does. That brings us to verse 5. Heaven and earth are impartial. They see the 10,000 things as straw dogs.
Straw dogs? What are those?
They're like ritual objects used in ceremonies. People would honor them, treat them as sacred during the ritual, and then just discard them afterwards.
Okay, so value everything, then let go.
Exactly. Value existence itself, impartially. Revere life, but release the attachment, the labels. The Tao gives air, sun, rain to everyone, right? Without picking favorites, God sends rain on the righteous and the unrighteous.
So practicing this means trying to drop judgments of others, of ourselves, even dropping words like special.
Precisely. Because special implies some are more favored, which isn't the Tao's way. It's about seeing yourself reflected in everyone you meet.
Everyone.
Everyone. That's how your criticisms and labels will dissolve. Verse 49 takes this even further. The sage has no fixed mind. Those who are good, he treats with goodness. Those who are bad, he also treats with goodness.
Wait, treats the bad with goodness too. Why?
Because the nature of his being is good.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
about radiating your own core nature, not reacting based on their behavior.
That is incredibly challenging, especially today. So it's not about criticizing ourselves, but just noticing.
Noticing, yeah. And letting go of those allegiances, those us versus them mentalities.
Hmm.
When you see yourself in everyone, like they're your own child, Dyer says the oneness of the Tao graces all unimpeded. He even suggests using namaste.
The greeting.
Yeah, that Sanskrit greeting. I honor the place in you where we are all one. Use it as a reminder, a practice to try and love everyone.
That's a very practical tool.
It is. And Dyer would really challenge us. Find chances to practice this. Be kinder, less critical, especially in situations that usually trigger judgment. Maybe with a difficult relative, someone asking for money, even a politician you can't stand.
Actively look for those opportunities. Wow. Okay, so if we practice all this non-attachment, impartiality, seeing the infinite, what does that look like in daily life? How does it create that effortless, harmonious existence?
Well, that leads us right into verse 8.
Mm.
Living in the flow. The supreme good is like water, it says.
Water.
Yeah, which nourishes all things without trying. Water just flows, seeks low places, becomes pure when it moves. It just is.
And Dyer's point is that we are mostly water.
Exactly. Like 75% water, your brain is 85%. We are water, essentially, so we can emulate it. Be gentle, let us be free, treat everyone equally, just flow.
And he brings up that research, Emoto, about water crystals.
Right, Masaru Emoto's work. It's controversial for sure, but the idea is fascinating. He claimed water's structure changed based on words or intentions. Love or thank you made beautiful crystals, you fool made distorted ones.
So the implication is our thoughts, our intentions might physically affect the world and ourselves given how much water we contain.
It's a powerful metaphor at the very least. Suggests our energy really matters. And this gentleness theme carries on in verse 43, living softly.
What does that say?
The softest of all things overrides the hardest of all things. Think water carving stone over time.
Ah, right. Patience, persistence.
Exactly, that without substance enters where there is no space. It values non-action. Again, teaching without lecturing, achieving without forcing.
Like the best athletes or artists, they make it look effortless.
Totally. There's a softness, not brute force. It connects to that Herman Melville line Dyer liked. God's one and only voice is silence. Find wisdom in stillness, in observing.
Practicing silence, another challenge in our noisy world.
Yeah.
Okay, but this non-action, it still feels like it clashes with everything we're taught about success. Verse 37, living in simplicity, hits this head on, right, with that huge paradox.
The ultimate paradox. The Dao does nothing but leaves nothing undone.
How do you even wrap your head around that? Getting everything done by doing nothing.
It completely flips our cultural script of constant doing equals achievement. Dyer imagined leaders centered in the Dao who would bite their tongues and zip their lips more often.
Instead of interfering.
Yeah, refusing to jump into things that cause harm, trusting the process. He saw it with his own kids. When he stopped trying to control everything, tell them what to do.
They figured it out.
They often figured it out themselves, yeah. And a calmer energy replaced the frustration. It's about letting that natural rhythm work, like Rumi said.
What did Rumi say?
Something like, nibble at me, don't gulp me down. Let your all-knowing guest fix things while you live naturally. Trust that inner wisdom, that guest.
Letting the all-knowing guest handle it. That really points towards mastering the inner world, doesn't it?
Absolutely. Which brings us to verse 33, living self-mastery. This one's crucial. One who understands others has knowledge. One who understands himself has wisdom.
Knowledge versus wisdom. Big difference.
Huge. And then, mastering others requires force. Mastering the self needs strength.
So all that energy we spend trying to control or change others, it's misplaced.
According to the Tao, yes, true strength comes from mastering yourself, understanding your own reactions. When you do that, Dyer says, others will cease to have any power or control over you.
Because you're not reacting anymore.
You're not hooked. It's about inner strength, allowing others their own path, their own lessons, without you needing to interfere. That's real liberation.
Okay. And how does all this culminate in what Dyer called a God-realized life? Verse 70 seems pretty direct about it.
It is. Lao Tzu says his teachings are very easy to understand and very easy to practice, yet so few in this world understand. He says his words come from the Tao, his deeds from that nameless source.
And how does the sage appear in this state?
Interestingly. The sage dresses plainly, even though his interior is filled with precious gems.
Plain clothes, inner riches. What are the gems?
Those refer back to the three treasures from verse 67. Mercy, frugality, and humility. Think about spiritual figures. Jesus, St. Francis, Buddha,
Mhm.
often shown simply, not decked out in luxury. The wealth is internal.
That really connects with Dr. Dyer's own story from The Shift, doesn't it? His agent wanted books on, what, sex or money?
Right, the guaranteed sellers. But Dyer felt this strong inner kind of feeling, pulling him towards spiritual topics. And he said he felt freest when he followed that inner call, not motivated by external rewards. That was his personal shift.
From ego to meaning, following that inner guidance.
Exactly. Reminds me of Meister Eckhart's advice.
Yeah.
So simple.
What's that?
If the only prayer you say in your whole life was thank you, that would suffice.
Just thank you.
Yeah. Practicing gratitude. Thank you, God, for
Right.
everything. That aligns you with that higher God-realized state Dyer talked about.
Wow. Okay, so as we kind of wrap up this deep dive, it feels like we've really traced a path here. Through the Dao De Jing, through Dyer's insights, a path towards peace, contentment, self-mastery.
Mm-hmm. That whole journey from the demanding morning of life ego
Right.
to the more purposeful afternoon of life, the Dao-centered self.
And the ultimate wisdom, you said, from verse 50, it's about living as an immortal.
In a sense,
Yeah.
realize your essence, and you will witness the end without ending. The Tao teaches that death isn't the final word. It's more like an insignificant detail. There's a part of you, a place where death cannot enter.
That's a huge perspective shift. The idea that you're not just this physical body.
You're an indestructible spiritual being having a temporary human experience. And when you realize that when harm comes, it won't find a place to sink its hooks in. You're anchored somewhere deeper.
It's like that Leonardo da Vinci quote Dyer mentioned.
Ah, yes. Well, I thought that I was learning how to live. I have been learning how to die.
Seeing death not as an end, but as part of living,
Yeah.
that takes away so much fear.
It really does. It frees you
true.
up to live more fully, trusting the flow, letting go of that constant need to control everything.
Okay, so a final thought then for everyone listening. As you reflect on all this, maybe consider, what aspect of your life right now are you trying hardest to control?
Where are you really gripping tight?
And what if? What if you chose, just for today, maybe just for the next hour, to consciously release that need, to just trust the Tao, trust the flow, and see what's truly needed, what's already unfolding perfectly?